Alright, welcome back, Lelanders. Today we're going to be taking a look at the California earthquake. And we got the chat open for question and answers. And we're also going to check out the I Felt It reports from the website. See if we got it here. There it is. From volcanodiscovery.com/earthquakes. So if you haven't heard, California had a big one today. Well, I'd say more like medium, a 7.0 earthquake. And well, I guess we'll check out the ley lines last. And right now we'll check out the I Felt It reports. I'll make them a little bigger so everyone can see it. Yeah, and if anyone's in the chat and they experience the earthquake, and I'm praying for anyone who's involved, if there's any damages or injuries, hopefully no fatalities. It says there's been 9 aftershocks for the quake so far. Let's see if we can go center screen. Ah, there we go. Hey, I'm back. Alright, so we got the center screen, and now we're going to check out. Looks like there's 9 aftershocks for the quake so far. The strongest was a 4.2 that hit 52 minutes after the main shock. So it's off the shore, so I think they've also issued a tsunami warning. Yeah, and just to clarify, I'm not an expert when it comes to earthquakes or anything. I'm just an armchair researcher, but some of the people I think on this website could be experts, so we'll check out what they're saying. Now, this is a great website if anyone hasn't seen it. They got maps, they got I Felt It reports, number of quakes per year. Strongest in 1 year, 50 weeks. So below is a map of larger quakes that happened in the past. And I missed the I Felt It reports. Did anyone see them? Oh, here it is. All right, so from Humboldt, California, 86.1 kilometers northeast of the epicenter. It says here, let's make it even bigger. There we go. I really wish they didn't have these things on the side. Right, it says for Eureka, Humboldt, California. And this post is from, I guess they don't put the names of the people, maybe it's anonymous, but it says here, glad we just cleared space out from under a heavy desk in the office. Very scary. The shaking started right after the phones all went on crazy. It was a hold on and hope nothing big falls situation. Hope everyone else is okay. Jacksonville, Oregon. So I guess that's further north of California. It says, first time I got an alert on the phone and on the television, and it was actually happening. Another person put on the 5th floor, sitting and working, felt a shake and then heard creaks. Lasted for about a minute. It was strong at first and then got lighter. Well, this doesn't sound too bad. So was outside talking to my husband when suddenly the trees and all the tall shrubs began swaying. Made us slightly dizzy. We didn't feel any tremors, but all the trees around us swayed back and forth, and there was no wind or breeze to cause that motion. Now, I've only been in a small earthquake myself before, and I can relate to that. Like, I did feel the roller coaster feeling that you're going over a hill. All of a sudden, it felt like the ground dropped. I was like, holy. And that was just from a mild quake. I can imagine what it's like on a big one. So, sitting on the couch in my living room, both dogs immediately awoke from the nap, and then I felt the weak shaking, similar to a large truck passing, but there was no truck. Now, I've lived next to train tracks for most of my life, and yeah, that's very similar to that, minus the dogs. I was inside my house sitting at the dining table, feeling the table, wall, windows, blinds move slightly for about 5 seconds. That was over 355 kilometers away. All right, so here's 278 kilometers away. Light shaking. It says my roommate's doors were shaking and it felt it on the 4th floor of our apartment. I believe there was a 6.6 reported and received an earthquake alert half a second before we felt it. Wow. Can you imagine actually getting the warning in time? That'd be wild. So lucky for them. And here we got Solano, California, 346 kilometers. It says, did not notice any earthquake. I was sitting down when I got the early warning on my Samsung phone. So here's one 240 kilometers away. Swinging, rattling, windows rattling, moderate shaking. Oh, here's one closer. 85 kilometers. Looks like it's German. So I won't be reading that. Schreinhunten. I'm just kidding. Anderson, California. No, I know very limited German, just some swear words from the 1940s from my grandfather. Strong shaking, sitting outside on a bench, started swaying about 30 seconds after the alert. Animals didn't really react, but I'm nauseous from motion sickness. Holy. Anderson, California. It doesn't say how far away it is, so I'm assuming, oh, strong shaking, so maybe it's at the epicenter. All right, next we have Redding, California. It says weak shaking, vibration, and rolling, 30 to 60 seconds. I was at work and sat in my rolling chair, and it was slightly rolling back and forth. Can you imagine? The plant hanging to my right was slightly swinging. All right, so we got Medford, Oregon, 286 kilometers. Which one is this? Weak shaking. I was in a virtual work meeting and everyone's phones went off at once. Maybe 10 to 20 seconds after that, we started to feel shaking and our stockings started to sway. I guess the what is it? The Christmas stockings. Wow. And that's from weak shaking. I don't know. I've noticed in earthquakes too. If you're on like ground level, it's usually a lot less. And then as soon as you get higher up in buildings, it starts to amplify. So I don't know if anyone else agrees with that. They could put it in the chat. Oh, here's another one from Modesto, California. Holy, almost 500 kilometers away. Holy, that is a far away. That's almost as far as where I live from to Toronto.
They're supposed to be getting tsunami.
Yeah, there is a tsunami alert. No, my wife was just saying that there's a possible tsunami. I don't think it's been confirmed yet, but definitely the alert is confirmed.
Yeah, they said to leave the coastal areas.
Yeah, we'll check the ley line map and show how like it's right on the coast. All right, so light shaking. It says in Modesto, crystals started swaying, and my windows and doors creaked off and on for about 2 minutes.
Whoa.
Yeah, that'd be scary. All right, we've got Mackinville. Let's see, where is that? Mackinville. Strong shaking. Ooh. I felt like it was close to a 7. So that person guessed it right, eh? So that must be close to it. Another close one, strong shaking. Yeah, it was very strong shaking at Johnson Lane, Fort Bragg, no damage thankfully. Discover Bay, I felt side to side wave, north and south movement. It's interesting, north and south. It's like when I felt an earthquake, it was up and down motion, so I didn't feel left or right. That's kind of neat. All right, another one from Reading, weak shaking, Marysville. Let's skip a few of these very weak shaking ones. All right. Another one in California. Son and home with grandson. Was in car in the driveway with the daughter. Everyone felt it. It was very strong. Felt the aftershocks also. Holy. So that person didn't feel it 200 kilometers away. Holy, so 100 kilometers away, they still have strong shaking. Both vertical and horizontal swinging for 30 to 60 seconds. Difficulty standing and walking. Furniture moving and falling or failing. The dog and the cat were both upset, but the bird was fine. No, I'm just kidding. Water spilled from the fish tanks. Oh man, power went off and then came back on. Thank God. All right, light shaking, weak shaking, light shaking, weak. Oh, here's another strong one. Red Crest, California, less than 100 kilometers away. Geez, I looked away for a sec. Oh, there it is. All right, sideways swinging for 20 to 30 seconds. It was sudden and startling. Things fell, and it seemed very long, but it was maybe a half a minute. And the electricity is off. Wow. So there's definitely a lot more I felt it reports, but we're probably going to wrap this stream up pretty soon. So we're just going to check out the ley lines next. And I do got some new big news about the ley line maps and the ley line book and everything coming out in the future. But we'll wait till after we cover this. And we'll switch to a bigger view on Google Earth. I'll be right back too. All right, so on this map, you can see that we got the red, or I should say the yellow and the blue lines are actually part of the ley line map. You can see that it's not just random points picked for this ley line map, but it's the Arctic Circle line, the tropic lines, the equator, and so forth. So when people are going to put it in the chat that, oh, these are just random lines, it's like, no, they're not actually random at all. They're highly calculated. And that's the nice thing about the new ley line map is there's going to be a new formula and a new software. So we'll get to see a more accurate version of the map. This one is pretty accurate, but the new one, you will not believe how accurate it is. It is unreal. So hopefully we'll be able to bring that one soon. Maybe I'll give a sneak peek of it before the end of this episode, if we have time. All right, so you can see the earthquakes and the ley lines, they do tend to happen in similar locations, if not right on the line, like we can see with that row there. And one of the reasons for that is the ley lines actually are very similar to the plate line cracks. So if you wanted an example of that, you can check out here. Let's turn off the blue lines because they're a little bit overwhelming. Let's leave it with just the yellow. All right, so there we go. So here's an example where you can see plate lines and the ley line cracks are actually almost the same, or vice versa what I just said there. And yeah, like that line, like that, how they often follow the lines, if not right on them. So obviously the plate crack lines aren't going to be identical to the ley lines because the ley lines are actually true great circles. This map isn't as true, but the new one that we're making, oh my gosh. The lines are so perfectly straight. It's actually done with computer programming, I believe. So we're going to check that out. Hopefully, well, I'm not sure. I can't give any estimates on the date of when the new ley line map is going to be finished and published. All right, we got 2 views and a current viewer. Thanks for tuning in, everyone. If anyone's got questions and comments, please feel free to put it in the chat. Is that you, honey, watching it or no?
No.
Oh, okay. Why not? I guess you can hear me live. Okay, enough joking around. This is California's earthquake show, so we should be serious. No, I'm gonna have a link to the new ley line map, and it is free to use. The person that's making the new ley line map or fixing this version is actually has a spot open for donations. So we'll try to get that donation link out there as well. But don't worry if anyone's on a budget, and I know a lot of people are these days, that we will be able to check out the ley lines on his new app in very hopefully soon. So I don't know. I was looking more closely at where this earthquake was off the coast, and you can see that's why they're calling for tsunami warnings. Oh, there we got Redding. So we read, pardon the pun, read a few of the Redding I Felt It reports. If anyone missed those, just check out the beginning of the show. Um, wow. So there's Medford. What are all these? Not sure exactly why those are all on the map right now, but I'll have to look into that. Yeah, so I hope everyone's okay. And yeah, this is unreal. Like everyone, when I was a kid, we always talked about California having another big one day. It was actually my stepdad who was trucking in California just a week before they had the big one. And it was so lucky because there was so much damage. But I think luckily so far there hasn't been a large amount of damage from this one that I've heard so far. I think they said it could be moderate damage in some spots, but they're not expecting severe damage. If anyone's heard any damage reports, if they can mention in the chat, that'd be great. No, I think with California earthquakes, the building codes in that region should be well adapted to be prepared for such a quake. Okay. I'm just gonna see if I can get my camera working again. Oh, 4 views and 2 viewers. Thanks everyone. Yeah, I really appreciate people checking out the ley line stuff and this California earthquake. Anytime there's big earthquakes or big hurricanes, those are some of the things I like to cover with ley lines. It is one theory that they're actually gravity well lines, but we haven't been able to prove that yet, so we're still working on that one. So anyways, this plate line crack where the earthquakes are happening, it actually looks like it extends all the way down, if anyone can guess to where. I think there it is. Oh, is that one? Oh, I was going to say that it connects to Hawaii, but it actually connects to this spot. I think there is an island there too. Or no, that looks like the region where, oh, it's part of the same volcanic chain. Eh? I don't know if anyone in the chat knows. Are all these little spots on the ground volcanoes that lead up to Hawaii? That's pretty wild. All right, so there we got it. The plate line crack kind of explains why the earthquake is aligning very close to the ley lines. We got this patch of ley lines that are directly on the where the earthquakes are happening on that fault line. Oh, these are segments. Let me try that. I can turn off some of the segments. I'm not sure which is that coming from. So it's not those. It is those. All right. How annoying. Now I'm hoping with the new Leyline map program, we're gonna have a little bit more information about the same type of information like earthquakes and hurricanes, but the new software I believe works a fair bit better than Google. Now, if people are wondering why I'm switching away from Google, it's like I actually thought Google was pretty good for quite a while, but for a lot of purposes like releasing books and stuff, you're not allowed to use Google, so it's kind of a disappointment on that. But thankfully, if anyone's ran into the same problem, the new Laneline software does come with the ability to use it for books and stuff, as long as you contact some of the people from the company that make it and ask their permission. Just give them a quick shout out of what you're going to use it for and get permission. I think they even allow you to use it with the watermark for free. Don't quote me on it, but Alright, so what other earthquake situations can we say that the ley lines are always active in? We'll come back to California in a second. I just wanted to show one is the blue ley line pattern. If you go into the islands here, Puerto Rico, this is where you get hammered bad. So I was thinking this gravity well here, all the information or energy coming north of it, it seems to slam into Puerto Rico. And when it does, boy, it leaves a lot of earthquakes. I'm pretty sure I could be wrong, but this region here in the world probably has the most earthquakes happening other than the Ring of Fire. Oh, speaking of the Ring of Fire, if people are interested in how it looks like on the map, it's kind of neat that the yellow layer on this map leaves a big open space, pretty much outlining the entire Ring of Fire. It's pretty wild. It outlines Australia very close. If people are wondering about the plate lines that separate the two continents here, a lot of earthquakes in the Japan region. Wow, so many people tuning in. If anyone wants to say hello, I'm just going to check to make sure the chat's working. Alright, looks like it's working. Alright. And we'll see if I can get myself back. Gone back. Copy. Copy that. No, if anyone knows of any stories about what's happening in the quake, please let us know in the chat. I'm gonna check CNN later tonight and see what it's got. Ah, there we go. I'm back. Alright. Now, if anyone's wondering how I came across making these gravity well maps or ley line maps, I actually had a bit of an injury and a long, lengthy rehab, and it took, I think, a couple of years even, so I had a lot of free, well, kind of free time. Wasn't at work, but I was constantly doing the rehab. But then, yeah, eventually managed to recover a fair bit from the injury and got the map about 90% done. And I was really upset by that because I was like, oh man, I did so much, like years of work into drawing these ley lines and doing all the calculations of where they go. And I only got about 90% done the map. And I was thinking that I'd wait to do the book until I finished the map. And I was like, man, it's taking years and years and years, and I'm just nowhere closer to finishing the map because it's so hard to draw it freehand. So I was always asking my viewers and everyone on YouTube and anyone I could find in message boards if anyone could help draw this. And no, couldn't get any help for years. And so then I'm like, okay, if I can't get the help I need, people want to see the map. So I got the map posted on my website. You can check it out there. You can see the layers yourself, the yellow, the blue, the red. The red is the hardest layer to draw, so that's why it's only maybe 60% complete. A lot of errors in it, but yellow and blue were a lot easier because there's less lines. It doubles the amount of lines for each layer. Oh, there's Mount Shasta. I've heard of that one. So anyways, so when it came time after posting on my website, a lot of people kept asking for the book. They're like, come on, man, release the book so we can get more details. Because as much as I make videos, a lot of them don't present it very well. So I figured, hey, a book is probably a lot better way to present all my evidence and how I made the maps, what happened. And then so I ran into the problem with the book where I couldn't publish the images from Google. So I was like, oh man, I almost gave up. I was like, oh no, if I can't publish the images from Google, I'm screwed. I basically drew it all and I can't use it because Google has got really strict policies. So I was like, oh man, I almost gave up. But then I asked some more people in the ley line community. I'm like, hey guys, I'm running into problems with taking pictures of my ley lines. And a lot of people started to get into it. Like some of my YouTube videos have got tens of thousands of views now about the ley lines. I was like, holy, like it is time for this book. And when I posted it on there, and thankfully some people posted that they know a guy who could help me with getting the images of the ley lines. So I messaged him and I'm like, hey, he's already on my friends list because we both share ley line interests. There it is for that. You can see all the earthquakes on that part. Oh my gosh. Right up to Alaska, right? But that's the plate line, so that's why. And it's the ley lines. Both matching. So anyways, he said he's going to be able, the guy that I was getting the images from, I mentioned it to him that like, hey, I wish I could get images of the map finished, but I'm just going to do the best I can. And I asked him, I'm like, if you know anyone who could help finish the map, please let me know. Because now everyone's going to be asking him about it too, because he's helping me with the images. So lo and behold, he's like, hey, do you want to take your ley line and map and upload it to this so that you can start taking images? I'm like, yeah, let's do it. And then he's like, hey, if you need someone help finishing it, he volunteered to help finish it. So I was like, oh my God, mind blown. If it wasn't for like just trying to write the book and getting these images, now I finally got the help to finish the map. So he's actually finished the yellow and the blue lines already with his computer programming skills, I believe, and it looks so pristine. Like well, I shouldn't say a million times, but a lot. The yellow lines are both the same, but the blue lines and hopefully the red lines, they look a lot better. Because yeah, when you're drawing things by freehand and then actually using computer programming to draw it, you get way better accuracy, right? So yeah, in the future, we're going to get the book out. We're going to have the ley lines updated on the new software. And I'm hoping it's by the end of next year. It could be a few weeks for all I know, but I don't want to say that just because get everyone's hopes up. I don't know how long it's going to take. I'm just guessing. So I'll say a year, and hopefully that's overestimating how long it's going to be. Hopefully it is just a few weeks, but you never know, right? All right, so we got some more earthquakes there. You got any questions from the chat? Any places you want to see earthquakes, the latest hurricane stuff that happened? Oh, people want a little bit of a deep dive into what earthquakes I'm a little bit worried about, or I shouldn't say worried about, maybe cautious about in the future, because I basically study gravity well maps and ley lines and earthquakes and plate tectonics for probably a decade now at least, minus the ley line part, but so yeah, it is quite a wild ride. Oh yeah, and then the image that I wanted to show is about where the future of earthquakes is going. Like I don't know, a lot of people ask like which part of the world do you worry about? California, yeah, there's always going to be the worry there because they had the big one in what was that, the 1990s or was it 80s, maybe 96, something like that. But where is it else? Now, there's been some people that are into UFOs, like Billy Meyer, and he talked about how, what is his prediction? I think it's for Portland, Oregon, that he believes it's going to get destroyed by an earthquake. I don't know how true that is. Apparently, gets his information from either demons or UFOs, so not exactly as reliable as a gravity well map, but who knows? You never know, right? Like people make fun of Billy Meyer, but he came true with almost all of his prophecies that he got from whatever entities he's getting it from. So maybe Portland, but the one that catch my eye the most, let's bring it up here. Man, we'll make it a full screen one. All right, so this image here is a quick image I put together. It just gives you a little illustration of some of the earthquakes in the past that happened in North America that we really have to watch out for. And they called it the New Madrid quake. So this area here would be the New Madrid quake area. And they said the scary part about it is the rock on this side of the continent is actually a lot tougher or reverberates earthquakes a lot farther. So people that had like an epicenter down here in like Atlanta or wherever it was actually ringing the church bells all the way up in Canada. So that's pretty unreal. And the other risk about that is it just so happens that a lot of these fault lines and with the major quakes in North America, we've actually taken out all the oil that used to lubricate them. So some people are like, well, if you take all the lube out, maybe the plate lines just won't slide anymore and they'll stay. So that's one theory. Or the other theory is now that the lubrication is gone from the plates, It's actually just going to grind harder and harder, pardon the pun, and eventually slip and then be an even bigger quake. But I'm no expert on, or paid expert for that, so it's anyone's guess, I think. And then the biggest thing about that whole thing is when you look down at the third map, look where we put all of our nuclear power plants. So we've basically covered all these fault lines that are really dangerous with some of the most dangerous chemical known to man, like radiation. If that all leaks, we don't even have the technology to clean it. So we're getting there, but I think Japan came a fair way with cleaning radiation technology after their last big earthquake and tsunami. Anyone could put in the chat below, do they know if the Japanese radiation got fixed, or is it actually worse or the same? But I was just thinking, like, the biggest problem right now with all these nuclear power plants being on the fault lines is I'm pretty sure the States has the same problem Canada does, that there's literally nowhere to dump the nuclear waste. They've been trying to get places to dump it, but most places are smart and they're like, hey, we don't want the nuclear waste here because you have to look after it for, like, I think what they say, 40,000 years. So the cost involved in monitoring it for 40,000 years far exceeds the value of any money you're going to get from generating the electricity, right? Like probably trillions of dollars to one. That's how bad the pollution is from radiation, like nuclear waste. I know people are going to argue that some nuclear waste, they can reuse it for like medical purposes and stuff, but I don't know. When it comes to some radiation, I'm pretty sure you can't. Oh yeah, acid carbine. How's it going? He wants to dump the radiation in Russia. No, I don't know. Like, does Russia have a nuclear waste dump? I know Canada doesn't. The U.S. doesn't. I'm pretty sure Germany shut down all their reactors as well. So that's the big problem is since we've had nowhere to dump the waste, does anyone can guess where the waste has been going? Hint, hint, hint. No, they've literally been taking the waste and putting it in the worst case scenario possible. They're piling it next to the active reactors. So huge piles of radiation just waiting for a meltdown to spray everywhere across the entire continent. So we got to hope and pray that in our lifetime, hopefully our grandkids have to deal with this and we don't. Not to put it like the worst thing upon them, but yeah, like it's a little bit concerning, right? Like, and not to be one of those people that's all doom and gloom. Maybe there is some sort of solution, like we'll be able to figure out how to clean radiation. So when this pending disaster comes, we'll actually be able to repair it. Oh, and the other thing we talked about too, it was quite a few years ago that there used to be a lot of large booms underground. And in Canada, our weather people, they started calling them ice quakes. But the problem was is they weren't always happening in the winter, also in the summer. So that whole ice quake theory didn't really add up. And even our weatherman, he was like, I'm reading this thing and it's like telling me that I have to tell you that ice quakes are common and that's easily explains why buildings are shaking and we're getting these large booms underground. But then he looked at the sheet and he looked at the camera and he's like, you know what? Can't lie to you. He's like, I've been doing this weather reporting for over 30 years and we haven't had a single one of these ever. This is the first one. So he's like, I don't know why the sheet says it's common, but I imagine it's sort of like the pandemic. The news's job is really to try to downplay how dangerous things are so they don't get mass panic, right? So could those booms mean that there's a large earthquake coming for the New Madrid fault? It was in the past, but it hasn't yet. So maybe it has to do with the fracking. Maybe we took all the oil out. So now there's no lubrication. We get those booms, but it's just grinding booms, and it's not enough for it to actually slide. Oh boy. So I don't know if anyone in the chat, holy, we got a lot of people that came through, but no one's posted if they actually felt the quake. So I don't think any of our viewers have felt it yet. Hopefully not. All right, we'll go back to the ley line map, or you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to open up one more website. And with this website, I'm just going to check and make sure that there hasn't been any more active. I'm going to use the old one, I think. Yeah, let's use new. Don't Always try. It's like always use, try, or don't. I don't want to pick any of these options. Because alright, let's go with don't ask me again. Oh, there is a try new button. Good. Alright, so here we've got the list. Oh, wow. Even Utah had an earthquake. So far it looks like the big one, December 5th, 7.0. And we've had, according to this, we'll make it a little bigger so everyone can see it. That's what she said. There it is, Northern California and near the coast. We got 2-4 aftershocks. And I'm going to keep monitoring it because, you know, you never know with earthquakes. It usually goes a big one and then smaller, smaller, smaller. But I'm always waiting for the day where it goes big one, smaller, 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 and then even bigger. I think that did happen a few times in Japan. So let's hope that there's nothing bigger for a 7 coming to California. I know, what was it, the big tsunami that hit, what was that place called? I think it was in Southeast Asia. It happened on Christmas time in December. Was it Christmas Eve or Christmas Day? Or was it a Boxing Day? Yeah, it was the Boxing Day quake and tsunami. So I'm going to keep really paying a close attention as we go through December. December, I don't know why, but maybe the ice quake theory. But it does seem like we get a lot more activity for the big ones around Christmas time. Right, so thanks everyone for tuning in. I've got some good news if anyone is watching my channel for other stuff. We got another program coming later tonight, probably around maybe 10 or 11 o'clock, or I might do it a bit, yeah, anytime after 7 and before I go to bed. And we're going to be playing a little bit of video game stuff, the Clone Evolution, my birthday special. It's a couple days past my birthday, but it's a good time to play the game right now. And I'll make sure to keep the leyline information coming about where people can check out the new version of the leyline map with all the corrections, when the book is coming out. And if people want the biggest point of evidence that this leyline map is related to gravity wells and some other things of that nature, is I'm able to turn on, what is it, the meteor impacts. So if I can turn on the meteor impact layer, sorry, my eyes still are good. I had another recent concussion. I can't see and concentrate too good. Cyclones, plate boundaries, magnetic fields. Yeah, there's so much information that you can check on these maps. Oh my god, I can't read. Hurricanes. Alright, let's minimize some things. Plate boundaries, magnetic field. Why am I not seeing it? Now, that's the hardest part about having a concussion. You can look right at things and not see them. Okay. Yeah, there's one of the other best leyline maps, the Hagen's map, if anyone's heard of it. I really like it too. Oh man, that really makes me mad that I can't find it. The best evidence, and it's gone. I'm gonna have to open each folder and just check to make sure I didn't drag it into one of them by accident. Well, okay, well I can't show you right now, but oh yeah, I know where I can. Luckily I took an image of it as well, so I can just show you the image. So right here in Africa happens to be this red line and these blue circles. This is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, meteor impact theory spot that's ever on the entire globe. And it just happens to fall on the exact ley line point where we think a gravity well is. And the reason these ones are blue and this one's red is red means that originally they thought it was an impact crater, but it's been ruled not because they investigated it, but they're still trying to figure out the cause. And the blue ones they think are still meteors, which is weird when they're like overlapping each other, but and how they all landed in the exact same spot. We're going to be checking it out a bit more when it comes to other bodies like the moons of Jupiter and our Earth, and they got the same similar impact crater patterns happening on the same spots. So there's something weird about that, but we're going to try to find out what it is. So yeah, if anyone's wondering the best evidence that there is something to these ley line maps and gravity wells, there's the best evidence. No, devil's advocate, you could say it's all just coincidence, and you can always say that about anything. All right, so thanks everyone for tuning in, and thanks Acid Carabine for the excellent questions. Now, I think Acid Carabine might have been joking about how just dumping it in Russia because of the whole Ukraine war and Russia situation. But to me, I don't like getting involved in that too much because I am part Ukrainian and my family had to flee Ukraine, so I know how bad Ukraine was, that we were like constantly fleeing the country. It's been basically a nightmare ever since they left the Soviet Union. And they were the country that backstabbed the Union and completely destroyed it, giving the West the edge to dominate the world and take it down a hellish path. But not to like try to pick sides. I always look at the Ukraine war and Russia as like a civil war, and we should not be. Well, I guess I'm not even allowed to talk about that on YouTube, but dear God, it's like I get my channel taken down just for talking about what I want to talk about, but oh well. So we'll stick on the thing about the gravity wells. And yeah, I won't make fun of Russia and Ukraine. I'm going to try to stay as neutral as I can in that situation. Hopefully they can sort it out peacefully without having to bomb each other into the Stone Age. Man, oh man. No, the thing that pisses me off the most about that whole conflict is I had a lot of Russian friends, still do, and I have a lot of Ukrainian friends, and I don't like to see them fighting each other, right? It's not nice. Especially, well, I guess I can't say anything more. No, I used to watch a lot of YouTubers that traveled to Russia and Ukraine and showed how bad the civil war was getting there before the war even started, like the official war. So, man, it was not peaceful for a long time there. It's not like it was a recent war. I think the only recent part of it is that they're actually calling it a war now. No, for me, I always want to give peace a chance, and like I'm not a violent person, so when I hear of violence, I'm not a big fan of it. But I guess with YouTube standards, that we should be allowed to say, I hope. I know like peace is kind of controversial these days. All right, so yeah, I'm looking forward to the new ley line map, and God bless everyone that's in California. Hopefully, we don't have any bigger quakes coming. But we're going to keep an eye on it, and if there's another big one, we'll try to do a live stream. I'm also doing occasional shorts, about 3 minutes, on information on this. So if there's anything I didn't cover in this video and you didn't make it to the live stream in time, don't worry, just leave comments in the chat below here and or on YouTube or wherever, and I'll try to read them and do a little short to cover it. There is occasionally that I forget because I've had a lot of concussions, so if I haven't done one in a while, please remind me because I'm likely forgot. If you asked me and I said I was going to do it and I never did, just remind me, please. Thank you. No, and hopefully the concussion, and I got some surgery coming up, so it's a bit of health battles right now, but once we get through all those, hopefully we'll be doing more gravity well ley line streams more often with the new software. Can't wait. Right, Acid Carbine and everyone else who's watching it, thanks a million. Holy crap, 44 minutes, so we really got to wrap this up. Right, make sure to check out the links below if you can. Really appreciate it. They help me and you. And what else is there? Yeah, just make sure to like, sub, and share. Really appreciate it. Bye for now, everyone. Oh, and God bless anyone that's dealing with the damages. Hopefully you can recover without any major injuries or deaths. Well, let's hope. God bless you, honey. Bye for now.